We should be coming
Can we
back into.
talk to people?
Yeah. Okay. The page is loading for me again.
Okay, I can hear
Yay.
us. The sound is fine.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was heard, but yeah, Pepsi's had a bad taste in my mouth ever since that whole Kylie Jenner commercial.
Mm-hmm.
She hands a can of Pepsi to a police officer.
Oh, yeah, because
Um,
that's gonna
that
totally get rid
fixes
of
everything
nasty
like
Pepsi.
magic. Yes. Um,
It's not even Pepsi Blue. Just regular Pepsi. Who wants
oh
that?
man, I was so irritated at that. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, they've been asked.
Ask it. Mm-hmm.
That's the word of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
investment firms, 87 investment firms and shareholders have petitioned Nike, FedEx, and PepsiCo to end ties with the Redskins, Washington
Redskins.
football
Yeah.
team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it should have been changed a long time ago.
So long ago, like they're holding on to it now. I'm like, if y'all had just listened when the First Nation peoples asked you to change it, like decades ago,
Decades ago.
we would have been fine. But
It
here
wouldn't
we
have
are
been
in
a problem.
2020,
Mm-hmm.
still having the conversation.
Same conversations. Here we are.
Same. Okay, so the hilarious news of the day. At least it's funny to me because, you know, white people going white. Um, Vanilla Ice. It's already funny.
Just saying his name in this day and age, you know it's not good. It's 2020. You said a white person. I
Yeah,
don't imagine something good came from it.
there's that. I mean, there's some doing stuff probably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so Vanilla Ice, in celebration of Independence Day, and I use that in quotes.
Freedom.
Um, yeah,
America.
is holding a concert in full America style
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Austin, Texas,
Where the whites do the
face to
whites.
face. They do very strongly white in Austin. Um, that's yeah. Whew,
Yeah.
you know what? One day I'm gonna do a full Austin rant. Like,
I want to hear it. You should do it during one of your going to this and that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because oh my lord.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Is
he's
the
gonna
mayor
be.
of Austin not going to do anything about this?
From what I can tell, although Governor Abbott, it's like, oopsie, we're gonna close things down again. Um,
JK, guys, it's not all good.
yeah, my bad. Sorry. Um, it said that it's although the venue where his concert is supposed to take place is supposed to stay at 50% capacity, and so is only selling 2,500 tickets
2,500 tickets?
because the full capacity is 4 to 5,000.
I do not care. Okay.
So I did not know that Vanilla Ice could sell out a 4,000,
White
5,000
people
seat
be white
venue
people in so hard.
so hard.
Living in
Um,
that one song. I mean, it was a bop for its time. But after that, that man can get
bro, that's
20.
exactly my question.
Yeah.
Exactly my question. And you want extra hilarity? This article that I'm looking at was published July 1st, and it says to date, 90 tickets have been sold.
That's kind of the best news of that entire story is that the world is like, first of all, who? Never met her. Second of all, I'm not leaving my home.
So apparently there's a limitation to the white people gonna white part because, well, I mean, it is Vanilla Ice. But as of January 1st, when this researcher, I assume researcher, this journalist, um, looked into it, only 90 out of 2,500. Um, and yeah, so, and that's in the context of Texas, where 7,000 new cases of COVID-19 have been. You know what? Yeah. He
I
dubbed
mean,
it
those
the
90 people will be able to socially distance, you know?
so hard.
In
So
the
hard.
front row, too.
Like there is nobody else. It's gonna be them staring awkwardly at Vanilla Ice.
With music that's way too loud.
That is hilarious. Oh, hold on, I wanna see because this was written a whole yesterday.
So much
Um,
has changed.
I I wanna see if
Hey,
it
Board, how's it
canceled.
going? Oh, hey, Rogue, how's it going? He said they didn't have COVID in the 90s.
Yes, he said that. Lord, what he said that. I saw that. He said his rationale for doing this whole thing was that they didn't have it in the 90s. I'm like, what does
The
one thing
mental
have to do?
gymnastics. The mental gymnastics. My boy was like, "Whew, whew, 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 whew." They didn't have it in the 90s. We're good. We made it.
What? And the thing is, they did have coronavirus in the 90s. It just wasn't COVID-19. Like, oh my God.
Good
Yes,
times.
the face, the emote makes it. Karen, thank you. Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
that is exactly when that face should be used.
yeah, exactly. So, I can tell you my story now about my new
Yes,
cup.
tell us about your cup.
Yeah, so I was at Target the other day, being classy and whatnot, and I knew that I needed a new cup in general because, like, you know, they break down and whatnot, and so I was looking at cups and I was like, oh, this cup is real cute, you know, and it holds like a regular cup size or whatever. I didn't realize it was a kid's cup until I was like already buying it, but it's real cute. It says "Adventure into the Woods" on it, cause you know,
Is
cute.
that Winnie the Pooh? Did you say?
I don't know. No, it says "Adventure into the Woods."
Well, they always went into the 100-acre woods for an adventure. You know?
No.
Okay, never
No.
mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Date yourself there. Okay.
I got kids. What?
Okay. Anyway, the best thing about this is that it's spill proof and it didn't drop this time. Ah, yeah. But what I didn't realize about spill proof cups that are made for children, so like no, like ain't no liquids getting out of here for the most part, right? Is that when you put carbonated drinks in here, the carbonation has no place to go, but to then spew from the straw. So I put some fizzy water in there, you know, like keeping with my classy motif, and I set my cup down and I gave like a little swirl to like get the ice to make it cold. Yeah, I did all that while I was working, right? And yeah, went like that and like just like a geyser just right out the straw. And so I like cleaned all that up and like cleaned up all of like the water and whatnot. And then I'm going to put all these paper towels in the trash, and I look back and it's spewing again. And then that's when it occurred to me that the carbonation has no real like, place to escape and to go. And so it just builds up that pressure and then it just comes out of the
Physics.
freaking, yeah. Basic physics. Basic physics. It did not occur to me until the second time that it spewed out of my straw. Anyways. I love this cup.
Physics get you every time.
Yeah. Our world
Oh my
is kind
God.
of governed by physics. So
Oh, all of it, even the stuff in the sippy cup.
I did not know. I thought the sippy cup was exempt,
Immune.
you know?
Oh,
I thought
my
we were
God.
good. I was like, okay, the first one I swirled it, it's carbonated. I get it. The second time I was like, oh, that was gonna happen anyway.
You're lucky the whole lid didn't come off. Oh my God.
I'm so happy that it just came out the straw and like it didn't like try to explode.
Oh,
Trying to
and
drink,
the
you
thing,
know.
like the thing is, the logic of it, you would never have shook the can like that, like
No.
because
I know it's
carbonation exists in a can.
I mean, I put my cans into a glass because once again, classy bitch. And like then, like it has ample room to like I have all the carbonation as Scott is, you know, it gets out of there. This time it did not. So lesson
Thank
learned.
you for
Don't
that.
be me,
Like,
everyone.
I so appreciate the
Yeah.
gift of this story. That is hilarious.
The guy's
Oh my
52.
God.
He should have known better. I have to sleep right now, but see you on the VOD. All right, parent, enjoy your night. I hope you get some good rest. I like those cups. My nieces have them, and they're really fun. I wanted one for myself. It was like $12, dude. Make it happen. I mean, it's great. Like, just don't put soda in here.
Or
do
how
that.
about don't put soda and shake the cup? Can we do that?
Even if you didn't, like the carbonation needs to get out, and it's not, because it's waterproof, leak proof. So like it was going to happen regardless of me shaking it up.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
Yeah, I think my granddaughter loved doing that. It was in a controlled setting where it's going to happen. It is magical.
Hey, let's put baking soda in there too and see what happens.
Just throw some Mentos in there, like duck for cover.
Hey, Tig.
Hey, Tig. How's it going?
Today on Parallels, we discuss Unica's encounters with science.
It's a daily thing. All right, let's quit laughing at
you
my
made my eyes
misfortunes.
water. Thank you.
I'm glad I could cheer you up a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, the world is going to shit, but we can laugh on the way.
I mean, I do. That's all I can do. That's all I got. It's a chuckle or two on the way down. So today we're gonna watch an interview on Nina Simone. And I only listened to the first couple minutes of it to check the audio, and it should be good. Let me know in chat. I'll be watching chat pretty closely. Speaking of nieces and nephews, one of them is demanding popcorn. Be back in a bit. Yo, I already got mine. So, suckers. And
harass the children.
I mean, taunting. Harassing, that's a bit much.
Okay, fine. Taunting is a better word.
So I'm super stoked for this. Let's pause this Muzak and get into this video. So there is no what's it called? Actual video to play. It's just audio. So if that's a little boring for you, I completely understand. But it's all the only recording that we could find, which brings me to my first topic before we even hit play on this.
Oh yeah.
Is how hard it was. Kalia, please tell me how hard it was to find a video.
Okay, so last 2 weeks ago, on our first episode, we watched James Baldwin, right? I was like, awesome. We started with a gay black man. Let's find a woman from the same era, same time frame. We all know they were there. We have evidentiary support that says that women existed, black women particularly, existed in the 60s and 70s.
I've seen it.
We know this. Some of us exist because of the black women that existed in the 60s.
You're not wrong.
Right? So I was like, oh, awesome. I didn't want to start with somebody immediately recognizable like Angela Davis or Fannie Lou Hamer, who was more, I guess, the 50s and 60s. And so I set out on this voyage. I was like, oh, I'll just find another one. I'll send it to Unica. It's going to be great. 3 days later, 4, 5, how long has it been since I've been trying to, a week later?
Yeah.
Of trying to find a video that had a black woman speaking in a block of time for 20, 30 minutes. Ridiculously hard to find. So hard to find. And I know they were giving speeches. Elaine Brown and Erica Huggins were leaders in the Black Panther Party. They were there when the cameras were on, just like Stokely Carmichael and Huey you know who I'm talking about.
You know I don't know.
And yet, no video, or very, very little video, exists of these women, at least not on the interwebs that I could find. Yeah. I reached out to other scholars that I knew. I reached out to the Facebook world. And the fact that in this time frame, now you can find some of these women giving lectures
Huey
in
Newton.
as
Thanks,
Huey
Dave.
Newton. Thank you. I ancestors forgive me. Um, so you can find these women in their elder years giving lectures at universities and, doing all of that. You can find lots of them. I couldn't even find a solid 20 minutes of Asada Shakur, and she's one of the most common names we
Oh
know.
wow, yeah.
Um, like there, Nikki Giovanni has been around in work for forever, it feels like.
I
I
saw
couldn't
two
find any
videos
of
of her, like, but they were with other people, not just a video of
yes,
her. Yeah.
yeah. So at some point, I would like to do the one with her and James Baldwin because I think that would be fantastic. But
Yeah.
it was so hard to find these women in the time where they were most active. Um, and so the okay, so one moment, the efforts we put into when we talk about how history has consequences and it leads into future times, we are attempting to correct a history. Oh, very good stuff too.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff. Um,
I'm glad you're able to
we're
find that stuff too.
attempting, yeah, we're attempting to correct historical silencing of women. And although we are in the 21st century, we cannot because of what was done 40, 50 years ago,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
the lack of preservation of their words. So just all of that to say, we are going to work around it because there are snippets, 3 and 4 minute videos. So we are going to make this work.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yes, and we are not going to allow these women to stay silent. And if you are interested in reading more about women in the Black Power movement, civil rights movement in this era, there's lots of books that have now been written. But it won't, your education will not come on YouTube, which, is okay. But
I mean, I learned all
for
kinds
our
of stuff on YouTube. Like
oh,
YouTube
yeah,
is my main
exactly.
form of like entertainment and knowledge.
Yes, the YouTubes.
I mean,
Okay.
Twitch as well. Like Twitch, I saw a Twitch
Mm,
today that was like just about aerospace, and I was like, what the what? Like,
really?
yes,
Okay.
they didn't have any black people there, but it was okay. You gotta choose your battles.
It's either going to be talk about science or black people. Oh, okay. Yes, we are still in the 21st century trying to fix these things.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But we did find a Nina Simone interview, and I'm
Yes.
very excited to get into it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna hit play, and I know that Kalia is listening through the stream. So once again, Kalia, or if anyone else in chat, like please feel free to stop me if there's something that you want to go over again, or like I mean, I'm gonna hit that pause button when I got something to say. So let a girl know. All right. Okay, here we go.
And it was love at first note. I rushed out and bought Nina at the Town Hall, which I still consider to be her finest album because of the range of songs and her flawless rendition of every
Are you
tune.
able to hear it?
5 years later, I found myself in Nina Simone's dressing room at Montreal's Place des Arts, talking to her after a wonderful, professional, passionate performance. She was impeccably dressed with her Sunday-going-to-church hat on and a glass of vodka in her hand. She was eager to talk and to answer every question as fully as possible and with passion. It should be remembered that this was the mid-60s when the civil rights movement was in overdrive, a time when you could still use the term Negro rather than African American. Language was also more contained. When she talked about her protest song as Mississippi Beep Beep, she is referring to Mississippi Goddamn, but thought she should not cuss. This full interview has never been broadcast, so this is the first time it has been available on a global basis. I asked her first if she saw herself as a jazz singer or a performer.
I'm a performer first and foremost, and very much like an actress who uses the tools at hand to convey some kind of communication between her and the audience. Mine happened to be piano and voice, but it is my desire every time I get on that stage to get some kind of rapport between me and that audience, if that answers your question. So I don't categorize myself at all as far as any type of singer. I'm a performer.
It has been said, I think Cannonball Adderley says this, that it's harder to get a rapport in concert than it is in a jazz club.
Miles says that too. Now, I think that's probably true for them. It isn't true for me. Maybe it's not true for me because originally I've been studying since I was 8, and I studied professional concert piano 14 years, and I learned the advantage of having a captive audience who came mainly to see you. I learned this is easier for me. I cannot compete with the glasses and what have you. That disturbs me, and I can never quite get relaxed. But at a concert, after 10 or 15 minutes, I can. It's simply easier for me, and obviously it's not easier for them.
Were you a pianist first or a singer first?
Oh, I was a pianist first. I was a singer only because I found it necessary to make some money. I was going to be a real big concert star, piano, the whole bit. And then I had to make some money, and I took a job in a nightclub, and the owner came in and said, "Do you sing?" I said, "No, sir." He says, "If you want to keep this job, you'd better sing." I said, "I sing." And that was the beginning of the show business career. I sang with my 2 sisters in church when I was a youngster, but I always sang bass, and I was a fill-in.
Can we pause that real quick?
I didn't know that
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to pause it, oh, hold on, let me pause it, or mute the stream so I don't hear myself in my own head. The reason I want to pause it is because can we all just take a moment to feel the Nina Simone that immediately comes out when she starts talking? Like, just, you feel like you can see her, like you know her, even though it's just an audio recording, at least for me.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
But she talks about the training she's had, but still, like 14 years of training, and still they're not satisfied with a professional level of concert pianist. You have to sing too. Like, it just, and her admitting also that she doesn't feel comfortable in the same places that we often attribute to jazz, right? In her genre, like the glasses and all of that. I can't do it. And acknowledging that there are different spaces that different musicians occupy. But I really thought, like, and it happens whenever we hear someone who is super well known for a gift they have, and you find out this little detail about them. I don't think I knew this before, that she only became a singer because she needed to have a job.
No, I didn't know that either. I honestly, I thought she was a singer. Didn't know that she played piano at all until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So my bad on my part, for just being uninformed. But yeah, and then to find out that no, she intended to be a classical pianist. And they were like, no, you're going to sing these songs.
And then she's like, because bills got to be paid, she's like, I'm a singer.
I got you.
Fortunately for all of us, she can throw it down. But yeah, I just
it's
those kind of details.
It's very frustrating, especially I can imagine for you too, having to constantly have the receipts, of your education, of your intelligence, of your credentials, why you deserve to be in that space on you and available at all times.
One of the best musicians in her time, and still wasn't enough. It can be frustrating. There's many, I'm sure, anecdotal stories I could diverge into, but we're not going to do that. Today is Nina. I'm not going to vent today.
Can we also talk about how I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan of the bob. Like in
The
general,
bob.
I don't like bobs. I don't care who they're on. Like I was looking and I was like, Nina, come
The
on.
poor woman is in here to defend herself. It was the 60s. Like,
So,
50s and 60s. He just,
and
you, you could be, anything, just not wear a bob.
I mean, and also like I should not be talking about her hair at all. Like she's a she's a musician. She's a
A
singer.
world renowned.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Classically trained. Put some respect on the bob, okay?
you see that, Candy? You see?
I'm not a big fan of bobs. I see bobs are coming back, and I'm like, ugh.
Are they?
I've seen a couple
You
of people
know,
with
you
bobs.
know that because you like talk to people. See, I did not know that because I don't talk to people. I don't look at people's hair.
Kalia for someone.
Oh,
Oh,
you got
what?
banished
What?
to the
What?
corner. Ooh,
What?
God has spoken.
What?
She is not happy with you. Go ahead and click play. Savor
Okay.
those hurt feelings.
All right, here we go. What are we gonna do with you? I'm gonna hit play. That's about it.
Could use what little equipment I have to project some kind of feeling. That I didn't know. But I had to do it, and so I did it. And I had an advantage in that I have perfect pitch and the things that make it easy for me to play in a key that's easy for me to sing because my voice is limited, my range is limited. So when he said to me, you have to sing, I simply took all of the popular songs I knew and put them in a key that I could sing them in.
What do you mean by limited?
Well, now, come on, we all have limitations. I don't have a vocal range technically of 2 or 3 octaves, such as Yema Summit has and most of the opera singers. I just don't have it. I don't have it as much as Ella has it. And Ella can sing maybe in 3 or 4 ranges. I can't. I have to sing all my songs within a given amount of
Can we just talk about how like this is what I can do, and I'm gonna do what I need to do within the confines of like what I can do.
They call that the lane. She knew her lane,
And
and she just
I'm
blew the
not
hell out of that lane.
no turn signals. And no turn signals. We're on
It
Route
does
66.
It yes, it does. I think Tig is right. It does take wisdom and
Yeah.
humility to do that because again, Juilliard is not a school that puts out average people, at least not by reputation. And so for her to still take a step back and be like, okay, this is what I have to do. These are the tools I have to do that thing with. Let's make it work. And she did not at all attempt to be any other kind of musician. I've never heard her and thought, not that I'm a musical expert or on this, on the history that came before her, but I've never heard her and thought, oh, that makes me think of this artist over here. Like I've just never had that thought.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, as far as I know, she wasn't trying to imitate anyone else. She was like, I'm gonna
No.
do me, I'm gonna sing in my range, which is kind of like how I feel. Like, I enjoy singing, but I also like cannot sing in like 2-3 octaves. Like, no. You're gonna catch
No.
this B flat the whole way through, okay?
And she also acknowledged those who could. Like she brought up Ella Fitzgerald, who we all know,
Oh, yeah.
beautiful range, and acknowledges that that has a space and that she had her own space. Like,
And that they can
there's
both
nothing wrong with
exist
that.
and flourish in this world. They don't have to pick one over the other. And I think that's what's really frustrating when it comes to a lot of like women artists is that no matter what genre you're in, you're always automatically pitted against someone else in your genre or your field, you know?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Porque why? There can be
Yeah.
one. There can be more than one. You know, 2 things can
Right.
be true. 3 things
Yeah,
can
and
be
I
true.
think that's interesting. I think societally we do that. Women, yes, in particular specializations, the higher and higher up you go, because then it becomes something like tokenism, right? So, well, this woman got in, so therefore we are equal. But I think that societally we do that because there is this sense of limited space. Like there can only be so many
This,
of
yeah.
this thing.
There's only 2 seats for minorities, you know?
Right, yes. in proportion with the population, let's have as many black people in our company as there are proportionally in the United States. And there you have two.
It is a product of our society being sold on the idea that for me to go up, someone else has to go down. Truer words have never been spoken, Tig. Yeah. Thank you for coming through with the insight. I appreciate it. You know?
That's why, Tig, I said I always appreciate you because you always come with the real.
All right. I just want to stop and like appreciate that she like, you know, I see my limitations, and that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just like how far I can go. That's it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even necessarily call it a limitation because, you know, your vocal cords are, she still had perfect pitch. Like, that
A
is
lot of people
not at
who
all a
have
limitation.
like several ranges cannot sing in a perfect pitch. They got to have someone play the note for them.
Cannot. So I don't think, I think what women do, but black women do, she did in kind of diminishing, you know, like, oh, it's not rogue. Welcome. This is therapy brought to you by Dicey Amazon.
How do you feel attacked right now? Like, let's unpack this.
We won't even charge your insurance.
No, I will.
No, she will try. She won't. But yeah, so I think that diminishing of her very clear ability, no one with a right mind can at all contest her talent and work ethic that she put into this.
I can't.
Well, that's okay. Just put it down. Let somebody else pick it up. You find your lane, Rogue.
Yeah.
You find your lane.
Everyone ain't got to be in the same lane.
No, your lane is not going to be the singing lane, and that's okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, but for real, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, fortunately. Fortunately.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay.
Notes. That's what I mean by limited range. Now, you wouldn't know this unless I told you, but it is so. And all of the keys are in a certain pitch so that I can sing them, because after a while things get too high for me to sing.
Cannonball Adderley again has said that one should play for an audience. That's the reason you're there. But that you should play what you want, the way you want to. Can you always do these two things?
Yes and no. It depends a lot on your own strength, psychologically, physically, and mentally. There are times when I'm not tired at all, and I know that I have something to give. And at those times, I will sing exactly what I want, for I know at those times when I'm at the peak of my strength, that if I do something that genuinely pleases me, and my standards are higher than anybody I know, I mean, I'm my own worst critic is what I'm saying. At those times, I know that what I have to give, you're going to like. And I know I'm going to like it. And at those times, no one can tell me what to play or how to play it. But there are times when you're physically exhausted and you take advantage of the fact that you either have a name, and certain people have come to hear you because you have a name or you're a star, or you may take another route. You may play the things that have made you famous, which is an easy way of getting through the night. And these things occur because you are human. For instance, tonight I am very tired, and if this audience had known Porgy and lots more songs that are associated only with me, I would have been quite content just to sing those songs, and I would have pleased them and pleased myself in that I pleased them. But when I'm at the peak of my strength, then I must do something creative, first for me. So basically, he's right.
What effect does an audience have on you?
Okay. Okay, so before we get into the next question Daddy asks, what are your thoughts? You're muted.
Whatever.
That's all good.
I
I'm actually-
like,
Oh, I was gonna say actually, while you were putting your thoughts together, I was gonna introduce any newcomers into the channel and say welcome to Dicey
Oh,
Amazons.
what's up?
Yeah, right now we're doing our episode 2 of a show called Parallels, a look back to push forward, in which myself and Kalia watch and listen to interviews from predominant civil rights leaders from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and try to find out like what their lives were, what conversations were they having, so that we can then learn from them and have newer, more progressive conversations that actually like get to solving problems instead of just having the same conversations over and over again. So, welcome. And now that I've given Kalia ample time to formulate her like thoughts about the whole situation, what do you think about the last segment?
Yeah. So I like that she made a point to say that in those moments where she's feeling good and is performing, yes, the audience came to see her, but she also does something for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Because so much, whenever we get caught in the cycle of doing, whether it be for jobs, family, relationships, whatever, there's always that point where we sometimes forget to come back to self. And maybe that's one of the reasons why she is such a pleasure to watch as a performer, because in those spaces where she feels good about her and her craft,
Yeah. She's enjoying
when
it.
when it's
tell.
for you, like, can't nobody tell you nothing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I mean, there have been tons of times where like I've been performing in front of like 3 people in a bar and like having a great time because I'm enjoying the songs that I'm playing. I'm on the stage with people that I enjoy playing with, and I have energy to give for this performance. Other times I've been performing in full areas, a whole dozens of people there.
A whole dozen.
A whole dozen, and like my heart's not in it. I'm tired. I mean, same thing with streaming, like it's got to be exhausting, and for you as well, like you work, you deal with home, and then you like have to give energy to yourself on, this platform.
Yeah. And fortunately, I don't know, sometimes I do let myself get right to that brink before I decide to randomly take days off and just be like, you know what? I'm not answering my email. And what?
I'm glad you
Like,
are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's an all of us have a balancing act to do. But I absolutely love that she, even in her doing stuff for others, she still found a space to make it for her and for nobody else. I like that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was an interesting insight into the thought process of a performer and on the topic of performance. Yes, I absolutely agree with you, Tig. Yeah. The way that she thinks about her craft and how she then gives that craft to other people is.
And that also makes me think, because my job, the people I work with don't, and sorry, gonna make this a little personal for a second.
Talk about it.
The people that I work with don't understand or don't always get why I can be in a full auditorium full of students and all of this like performative personality comes out, right? Because teaching is performance. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And that's why it's so freaking exhausting, because you have to be interesting to a whole group of people.
About a topic that's probably not interesting.
Well, I think it's interesting, but whatever.
Okay, well.
Because I would not be in this line of work if it wasn't. But they don't see why I can go out and give that performance and talk to a whole group of people, and then why I come back to the office and I'm like I have nothing to say to you. Like, I'm not here for you. Like, I don't have anything to say to you. There is nothing. I don't need to smile for you. I don't need to make you feel comfortable. You've already done this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think even though it is exhausting, I think some of it is for me because I know that I'm good at it. And when it flows, it feels really good to see their engagement. And that's why I keep going back, despite the exhaustion.
Semester after semester, out here doing the Lord's work.
The Lord needs to pay more. Talk about that. I am not in this for charity, people.
Don't you got fish and bread in there? You good. God got you.
I don't even eat seafood. Man,
Didn't ask all that.
you just gonna starve or eat this fish.
You gonna eat
then.
around these fish bones? You gonna like it.
Tig said, when people become used to having you be on, they don't know how to handle you needing to be off. Yeah, very
That
much
is
so.
so true. I mean, like from me performing like in school band, and then in like punk bands when I was like outside of high school and in college, and then doing drag, like people just expected me to be that level of like on and charismatic and like easy breezy beautiful like drag queen person or whatever. And I'm not. Like I'm a very down depressed person that I was constantly dealing with that before that. And you know, performing gives me a way to like step into something else for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was, what really hit me was I was doing drag and I was living in Daytona. No, I was living in Orlando, but like dating this girl in Daytona. And I was at
So
her
you
house.
do know Florida man.
I said I lived there for 15 years. Like I've been there
Florida
for a
man
while.
and you were besties. Okay, I'm sorry, I digress.
Yeah. I'm not proud of that. You know, like why are you bringing up old stuff? Anyways. Yeah, so I'm dating this one girl, and I met her while I was doing drags, like in Drag King, like the full 9 yards, right? And like me being that persona, which is Aiden. And so I'm at her house and I was like, hey, do you think I'm boring? And she was like, yeah, I thought that you were like Aiden 24/7. And I was like, wow. Well, Unique is a nerd, and okay. 2 shots to my ego. Yeah. Anyway,
No,
it's exhausting.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
The idea of the performance is so alluring, and then people see me in my house and like, this is it. Like,
It's just her and
I
books.
got books and that's me. that's it. There's
It's books
nothing.
and that one
They're
fire
like-
detector that you still haven't put up, or the carbon monoxide detector. Is it still on your?
You know, first of
People
all,
are
don't judge my
exhausting.
life. Whatever. Yeah, like they're always thinking like, why don't you tell me anything? I'm like, there's nothing to tell. This is it. Like, this is literally the scope of the possibility when related to Kalia.
Yeah,
Sorry.
drink it in. All right. Anything else you wanted to add?
No.
No. All right.
good.
Let's get back into this.
Oh, tremendous. And that again depends on how I feel. They have no effect unless they're terribly boisterous when I'm feeling good. For I will go out there and if it takes 2 hours and I have the time, I will hammer and hammer until I get them quiet. But at other times when you need them to respond to you and give you a little help, when you just don't feel too good, then if they don't give it to me and they're not warm, then I just feel like sitting down.
When you get an audience like this, what is your natural reaction? What do you want to do?
When I get an audience like that, I wish that at all times I had the strength to move them, but in order to move them, you have to be at the peak of your strength. When they're dull like that and they're not very responsive, then you have to stand on your head practically. And once you get them, they respond. But when you don't feel like it, well, you give them a dull show, or you get some inspiration from the musicians, or something spontaneous might happen sometime that makes you feel good all of a sudden. For instance, we did a concert about a week ago, and I was tired then too, but there was a little boy, I think he was 7 or 8, in the balcony, and I asked the kids to sing along with me on some tune. And I looked up and I noticed that he wasn't singing. And so I asked him a question, why aren't you singing? And he responded by shouting louder than anyone else. And it was so funny, and it was what I needed for the entire show. I felt better after that.
Your numbers that you choose range from out-and-out blues to Swedish love songs and tender love songs. Do you do this out of personal preference, or is this because of, shall we say, professional necessity?
You really asked some questions. um, First of all, their personal preferences. I know what I do best, which is necessary. You should know, if you're an artist, what you do best, what best conveys what you can give. And since I like all music, and I have been influenced by all music, all the music that I've heard all my life, I've been influenced by, I like all kinds of things. And so I try to give them all the things that I like. Now, however, there are times when you have to think of the pacing of a show. And this is when you are thinking mostly of your audience. You want them, for egotistic reasons, not to forget you. You don't want to be just another singer. So you try to somehow pace your show to hit an emotional climax at some time. For instance, you're given a half an hour to do a show. Well, now, you just can't get up there and sing song after song after song. It doesn't mean a thing. So you try to relate the first song to the second song. You following me? Somehow give them some type of total experience so that at the end of the performance, they have a remembrance of you, per se.
What were your early influences?
Bach, Czerny, Mozart, a little Debussy. My favorite was Bach. Marian Anderson I've always loved because she had so much dignity. I think that got through to me more than anything. I never knew whether she was great. I knew she was great, but I couldn't put my finger on why. But she had so much dignity. And she was a Negro woman, and I was very proud of her. Then there was Billie Holiday, who has known so much pain, but so tender with it. She influenced me. She influenced me by doing the things that she felt. I don't think she could do anything else. That's the beauty of her. By the way, she's the one who is totally responsible for my singing Porgy. You're familiar with that? I learned it from her record. And then, of course, there were the blues singers, and most of all, I have to mention, the gospel singing that I heard in church influenced me tremendously. And that's no one person. That's a rhythm and a feeling, a rapport that you get in a big audience where you can't hear anything but rhythm for hours on end. It's the most fantastic experience. That influenced me more than anything, I think, because I was brought up with that. Since I was 3, I've been playing in the church.
So can I just say, look at Nina Simone supporting other Black women, you know, like,
Yeah.
and also the way that in which she speaks and like how she like enunciates certain words reminds me very much of my grandmother, and it's like making me feel warm and fuzzy inside, you know?
Aw,
Yeah.
fuzzies. Yeah, I like how she started with, and I've seen other artists, Black artists, do this as well. They start with the easy names, right? So no one is offended when she says Bach, right? And she starts with these other artists and then pulls you in to this long line of Black women and Black culture and Black rhythm. So you have to. She spent more time on that part than she did on the part that wouldn't that gave her credentials, right? Because saying Billie Holiday at that point in time, now everybody would be, you worked with Billie, you know. But in that time frame, it wouldn't have had the same impact as saying something like Bach. So I like that she kind of, here, I'll give you what you're looking for here, and here's my credentials. Now I want you to hear the rest of the story, the real story of why I am the way that I am. You definitely don't get Nina Simone. You don't get 90% of Black musical performance without the background of the church.
No. Oh no,
Like,
absolutely
you
not.
don't.
Yeah, gospel music is like the reason why we have so many other secular genres of music.
Yeah. it just so many singers got their start there
Mm-hmm.
because every black child was in church.
Yeah, present company included.
Um,
Yeah, she
Stick
gave
around for the gold. Yeah.
she gave them McChocolate nuggets. Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, and also I wanted to point out, like, another thing that I've noticed about just listening to the way that she speaks and the way that she, like, engages with the person she's talking to, Martin Bronstein. Um, it's like I can hear the facial expression that she's making and how she talks, and even when she like talks a little quieter, you can still hear the expression in her voice and how she enunciates her words. And I think that
Yeah.
says something to the performer in her.
Yeah. And the deep breaths when, because like at some point earlier, she was like, well, you just be asking the question.
You hitting these questions hard.
Like, who told you to know me?
Right, how
Um,
dare you see me and acknowledge me.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, now that's crazy. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right.
Who are your influences now, if you have any influences now?
Now I don't have any influences when it comes to people. I am constantly trying to be more of whatever I am. And what influences me now is meeting people like yourself, people who from different countries, people with different ideas about life, people who live differently. That helps my music, strangely enough.
Of all the numbers you have recorded and the 700 numbers that you have in your repertoire, which is your personal favorite? Another loaded question.
No, and I have to answer you the same way I've answered several of your questions before. It depends on my mood, totally. When I tell you I like all kinds of music, I mean that. I do not like what they've done to rock and roll. I don't like the fact that all they got now is a beat and nothing else is considered. And I'm not talking about the good rock and roll. I'm talking about this crap you hear. That I don't like. But sometimes I'm in the mood and I can be tremendously moved by a blues, by Muddy Waters. And again, I want to hear something by Stravinsky. It depends completely on my mood. Because you see, I'm just a musician. I don't have preferences. If something is good, I like it. But I like the best of whatever there is.
Of all the numbers you have recorded, as your own worst or best critic, however you like to put it, which single number gives you most satisfaction?
All right, I'll tell you. I don't even think you've heard it yet. The song that gives me the most satisfaction is Pirate Jenny from the Threepenny Opera. Have you heard it? It's a complete actress's song, and I tell you, it is something. The night I did it, and the thing I'm talking about, being proud of, was at Carnegie Hall, and I had no idea it came out so good until I heard it, because I was just out of my mind with fatigue, and but it has given me my biggest challenge. It's a tremendously hate-filled song, if you're familiar with it, and it's a heavy song. And that is my favorite, mostly, I suppose, because it gave me my greatest challenge. Now, I don't even do it now on stage. It's too hard. It takes too much out of you. But that's my preference these days.
At this point, there was an interruption, and so resumed with her talking about her love of Johann Sebastian Bach.
I admired Bach more than any other composer in the world because he, first of all, technically he was clean. Every note was not muddled. And of course, he's been around for centuries. But in addition to being technically perfect, he was emotionally perfect. And in addition to that, he was detached from his music. Now, what I mean is this. I have to explain myself. When you play Bach and play him well, he's the hardest one to learn how to play. And usually the things that are the greatest are not easy to come by. This man had simple things that you had to get an ear to even listen to it. And he was so simple. He just took a melody and made 5 or 6 voices around that melody. But in order to play that melody right, you had to change the emotional feeling each time he put a voice in. And that takes tremendous discipline. To me, he is the master because he takes more discipline to play and play well. Because if you don't play Bach well, it just sounds like a jumbled up amount of notes. But if you play him well, these same notes that you keep repeating and keep repeating take on tremendous significance.
So,
You can feel her energy in
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Like, I mean, like, we're not watching this, but I feel like I'm watching it with like how,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's kind of something that a lot of white people say about black people is like, oh, they're mad, they're so animated, you know, like something I 100% heard newscasters say about me and my marching band when I was in Chicago. Like, oh my God, this is the Hazel Crest marching band. Look at, they're so animated. Look at them
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. And if her vodka wasn't gone, I'm pretty sure she might have spilled some vodka in that moment. Like I could just see her just sloshing around as she was
Not paying attention at all. Just hand is going wild crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
artist. That's an autophile. Yeah. I wanted to bring up that point as well. Like a lot of people don't have the heart or the ear to listen to a certain performer and like truly appreciate it or even know how to appreciate it, which is to say nothing about that individual person, because everyone likes what they like, and like some things don't hit you as other things hit you. But for her to say that about Bach is one, something I've never really considered, because I've never really closely studied Bach, like in school. Yeah, like what I needed to learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my dog just farted again behind me.
Y'all, man down. Man down. Edison is Unica's puppy, and he is the sweetest dog you will ever see.
It's like
He will
something
bring
died
you a
inside of
toy.
him.
And right now he is sharing his love with her.
Oh my gosh, he's laying like right here, like he's right here, and just root tooting it up, you know. So, how's your day going?
Keep your mouth closed.
I can't.
Oh, Edison.
So gross. Yeah. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. Like, just wipe
But
the
you
whole thought out of my head.
you never fully studied Bach and listen. Goodbye. Yes.
Get
You
this woman a
should.
match.
This is not your first day at the show.
I mean, I have
You
a
know
candle
Edison.
back there, but I just don't want to get up and go light it. Like, I would have to get up, you know, to go do that. And that takes work.
Well, now you know that you need a box of matches at your desk.
It's the worst. Like, and I can't do it. I can't like even like, Edison, what are you doing? Like, he's just being him, you know. So
All of it.
Now I
What
gotta
do they
taste it.
say? Better out than in.
I mean, really? That's not. I don't want to live by that term. You better hold it. Get out of the room.
Poor Edison. This is why. This
Don't
is
pour
why.
Edison him. Don't
Oh,
pour Edison
Edison will
him.
always get the sympathy.
I
Chad is
mean-
with me too.
Have you seen his face? That's kind of what his face is built for. Getting sympathy.
Yeah, he's very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to see a picture of Edison for anyone in chat, you can follow me at Twitter at the Fung Fu Pai. Here, I'll write it in chat.
And didn't you say you were going to post a picture of him in Discord too?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that
I
right
thought
now.
you said that yesterday.
I don't know.
So we have a Discord. Come and join us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There is a recording, ma'am.
Where should I post him at?
I don't know. The welcome, the
Yeah, welcome.
beach.
Why not?
That's where everybody lands, at the beach. Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
Wrong chat.
I didn't mean for you to do this like right now. What are you doing?
Who are you trying to raid?
Raid?
Oh, I
What?
thought you were saying raid now.
No, I said I didn't mean for you to do this right now. You have to remember.
It's too late, okay? You want it done, it's got to be done right now.
Clearly,
If not,
'cause
I'm
you
gonna
said
forget.
yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna walk away from this desk and go make myself dinner, and it's gonna be a whole new set of thoughts and trials and
Okay,
tribulations.
but Edison is adorable.
I mean, he cute, whatever.
Oh my goodness.
It's
So
a good
yeah,
picture I got of him.
it is.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I mean, he's real cute after he gets a bath. Then my boy is
You always
soft.
so needy, like always wanting something extra.
He's so soft after a bath, though. Like, I'll be all over him.
Now you're
Like,
distracted. Can we get back to your?
yeah. Okay. Pressing play.
And that's hard.
Yeah. You say, but you described him as being detached from his music. Would you like to elucidate on this?
Well, I don't know if I can make myself clear, but let me put it this way. When you do a performance and you do it just for yourself, and you're so emotionally wrapped up that you can't hear the technical flaws, you're in trouble. But if you can do a performance that is emotionally satisfying to yourself and at the same time keep a distance from yourself and be able to also put yourself in the place of the audience and hear what they're hearing all the time you're playing, that's a tremendous feat. And to me, what he wrote was like that. I think that Bach could sit down and play Bach from a piece of music and play it well and not necessarily have to be moved by some experience to do so. I think he could play his compositions without any emotional inspiration. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that if you called upon him to play, no matter how he felt, he could somehow project himself into the mood and play it. And then once it's finished.
Which is a complete opposite of you.
Oh, not quite. Not quite. My best performances have a sort of detachment and the discipline. I don't want to talk about it too much. I'll give all my secrets away. But discipline is required. Control is required. You can never forget, no matter how well you're doing, that you have a piano, that you have musicians to consider, that you have an audience. Once you forget these things, you get so involved with yourself that perhaps you're not even communicating to them, but you're having a ball. Well, that's just as bad as playing just for them and not playing for yourself. You have to maintain a balance. You have to be constantly aware that not only must you give of yourself, but you must give of yourself with control all the time, so that they understand what you're giving when you're giving it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I know that's clear. I said that well.
Do you think that jazz can only be played by the American Negro?
I think this. Yes and no. And I'll give you a simile.
Okay. So before Nina gives her answer, what's your answer?
That is such a heavy question.
It's a loaded question if I ever heard
Huge.
one.
Oh my gosh. And as soon as he asked, I was
Martin,
like,
spicy.
what is she going to say? And I'm also trying to keep in mind the difference in time frame, right? So this is 68, 66?
66, yeah. 996.
Imagine that. So 66 is a totally different time frame. Jazz at this point in U.S. history had not, yes, Tig, all of us were just,
Why would you ask that question?
But I think in the time frame that they're talking, I think it's a valid question, because jazz was, you remember like when it's first becoming popular, and I use that term very loosely because it was the place, these little jazz bars were the place where white people went to feel risque, right? It wasn't a mainstream genre of music. And now, like, jazz has its own credentialing system, right? And it's more widely palatable and acceptable.
I love jazz. I listen to it all the time.
Because sanity is necessary, and jazz keeps us all sane.
Truer words, Kalia. Truer words.
Like jazz is just you can put it on and just
Mm-hmm.
whew, breathe for a minute. But how would I answer that question? Um,
What about you, Tig? What about chat? Anyone in chat want to answer this question? In the with the perspective of 1966, do you think that any other race besides the African American Negro could play jazz music, you know, successfully? And there were jazz artists in during that time period, pretty respectable
yeah,
ones. Um,
yeah.
and like, they were down with the cause and
Um,
the jazz cigarettes and such.
yeah. And the way,
Tom Petty once said that rock and roll was created by white boys to play guitar like their favorite black jazz and blues artist. I mean, Tom Petty would be right, except for the fact that a woman is the grandmother of rock and roll. I mean,
you
I
Mickey,
can't,
that
I
was their favorite, yeah,
yeah.
their favorite black jazz and blues artist. Yeah.
I mean, but what was her name? Mother. Oh my
Mm,
gosh, it's in chat.
it is. I'm going to find it
Yeah,
now.
yeah, 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 yeah. I gotta find it. I don't want to
It's
say
in
her name
blurred.
wrong. Yeah.
It's, oh my lord, how did we have so much?
No, it's in parallels.
Oh,
Uh, Sister Rosetta Tharpe is her
thank
name,
you.
and is very. I wanna have an episode about her as well, because she's literally
Mm,
forgotten from history,
yeah,
except for like people who like know the history of music and how it has come to be popular and
yeah.
how it has evolved throughout the decades, in time and whatnot. And so yeah, I mean, I think that if you're talking about the emotion that jazz brings out in the performer and the band and the audience, I think that at that particular time period, I think that the black people had a corner on showing their pain,
Mm,
and showing their pain in a way that's palatable for white people through music.
yeah,
Whereas, like, I mean, they're once again very successful jazz artists from like not from white America specifically, um, but if you put two side by side, like it's 9 times out of 10, like unless I don't know, maybe like Chet Baker, he was a very emotional player, but I think at least,
yeah,
um, but there aren't a lot of artists that I can recall from that time period that aren't black that are able to like elicit that kind of emotion out of you, out of their instrument, whether it's their voice or like a trumpet or saxophone, guitar, bass, whatever. um but yeah, I definitely want to know what you all thoughts are. Like, I'm a huge music head, so like I want to know like an honest, like, be spicy about it. What's an honest answer? What do you think?
I am, while chat is typing furiously, I'm kind of torn between what I understand jazz to be now
Yeah, R.I.P. Tom Petty.
and um and
I had a copy of the same song.
what it was in 1966. Because it was vital. It was um, like most expressions, there's a natural ex- expressiveness there. There's the artist wanting to create art, but
Mm-hmm.
then because of the history of this country, it's also tied to experiences, very real and tangible
Mm-hmm.
experiences. The blues, like all of this,
Oh
is
yeah.
out of that experience. Um, so I don't 1966, I would say that the ones for the way jazz was defined in that time frame, I don't think it could come from a people who had not had those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And that means it would have to be someone like black people or some other like hyper marginalized community.
Yeah.
Um, and now, like, I get super annoyed when I hear it was on. Okay, oh,
I think
we
we need
got
to separate jazz and blues in this conversation, maybe. For the 60s, though, I don't think so. I think that they were pretty. I mean, I think that they're two separate sides of the same coin at that particular time. Now, I think that they are two separate genres. They have like taken a pretty, like, if I hear a blues song, like that's like a modern blues song and a modern jazz song, I can tell the difference.
mm,
Whereas when I listen to older songs. Maybe because I just haven't, I didn't grow up listening to them, but like I'm like, oh, that was a blues song, that was a jazz song. Oh, they sound very similar to me.
Yeah, I think they overlapped a lot. Um, and jazz, I mean, I don't know how, even if we are talking about separating them in the 60s, I'm not sure how you would, where the line would be, separating the feeling, because they both definitely dealt with emotional content.
Oh yeah.
Um, and now today, like it gets so generic and so like
Yeah.
painfully just
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, with that comes
I
with
don't know.
capitalism, though. Like, as a
Well,
society, we
yeah,
begin to like OD off of the same thing that we're getting fed over and over and over again. I think that's why the longevity of the artist now is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Because not only
yeah,
are we listening to like an entire like catalog of this one particular artist, like it's also like because they're being like bombarded with us from radios and like the interwebs and whatnot. And so like not only is it that one person that we're being exposed to and like bombarded with, but like every other person that sounds like that person, you know. And like with the invention of like modern technology, and my dog is playing now, so that's what you hear. He decides now he wants to play, so you know, do your thing, Edison, live your life. But yeah, so like with the invention of like modern technologies, SoundCloud, Spotify, like at one point Mixcloud was for a little bit, like you can just get bombarded with like the same exact sounding music all day, all night
yeah,
long. And yeah, and eventually you go, okay, I don't want to hear this guy anymore. I don't want to hear anyone who sounds like him anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Board, you're right. Jazz, the way it's celebration, it's like all of that, but there's still a way of celebrating in a cultural background, right? That's unique to Black people in the U.S. So our celebration does not historically look like the non-marginalized community celebrations. And so I think there's still a place to talk about that background in jazz, even if it's not the same as blues necessarily. Because you're right, some listening to all blue, like you just gotta pause for a second and not let yourself go all the way down the blues rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But you can't listen to, and these aren't, I mean,
It's
they're
super easy now to go from blues to country. Like I've done that several times, like listening to music and like letting it recommend stuff to me because like it's, you know, I mean, like he was saying, you know, like it kind of blends. There are a lot of blues songs that sound like rock song, or like what it's called now, like southern rock, which is like the blues country kind of mashup genre
right.
now. Yeah, I cut you off though. Sorry.
No, it is okay. I was just thinking, like, okay, so one of my favorite musicians is jazz musicians is Thelonious Monk, right?
Love him.
Because you're a smart person, and everyone should love him.
I am a smart person.
I can see the light shining literally down on you.
It's right there.
Yeah, there you go. And in my view, listening to Thelonious Monk, separate from, he was, I don't think anyone would disagree, he's a jazz
Yeah.
musician.
Oh yeah. Through and through.
But listening to him, I can hear, I don't know, I can hear the rest of that history. It's not that he's sad all the time or, you know, whatever. Well, yeah. I mean, ragtime, like going back, there's music is sequential. It feeds off itself.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that, Board. Yeah, so yeah, gospel, and then out of gospel you got blues and jazz, and then you began to, excuse me, stretch out from there.
Yeah, and there was, I mean, even within jazz, there was so many different, like acid jazz and like
I love
all
acid
these,
jazz. Oh yeah, let's
all
get
of
weird
these,
with it.
right? Yes, and they did do. But there's, it's all, I don't know. Um, yeah, I mean, feel free, let us know. I'm just, I guess I'm not seeing it as necessarily things to treat differently because as you say, Board, there is um, there is connections. Like it all is born out of each other, and no one genre of music can say that it was created in a silo.
Yeah.
Like none of them.
Maybe ambient music, because who listens to that? Like, I listen to lo-fi all day long, and I can't even get into ambient music. It's just tones. It sounded a little orcish.
I do speak Orca. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope if I ever get the chance to play Ari again, the partially amphibious Badakin, I'll be able to like practice my Orcan.
Mongolian throat music.
I'm
not gonna lie to you, it is pretty
though.
awesome. I 100% am not going to try and imitate that, because I do not want to culturally and physically die.
No.
And I mean die
no.
because like I can't make that sound with my throat. I feel like I would just cut off my air.
Yeah, that's not your lane. We were talking about that.
No blinkers over here, okay? We're staying right here.
No. Oh my goodness. Okay, so were you gonna let Nina answer the question that got us like
So sidetracked? Yeah.
A little bit.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on, I just wanted to make sure because I hit a button. Okay. All right.
If someone has studied all his life a poem, one poem, now follow me.
Can we
If a little
remember,
boy, a little girl,
real quick what the question was?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we got
So
at least for me,
sidetracked.
I got
Yeah. Okay, so
whirling all over the place.
welcome anyone who's new and has no idea what's going on. Welcome to Dicey Amazons. My name is Unica. My co-host here is the wonderful Kalia. We are having a show called Parallels, a look back to push forward, in which we listen to interviews from predominant civil rights leaders from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and then, have a conversation about it and find out ways that we can improve upon the conversations that we're having today involving race and gender and, just being out here in these streets and music. Like we're talking about really heavy music right now with Nina Simone, which makes a ton of sense. Anywho, I'm going to rewind it a little bit so we can get this question back. But if I remember correctly, the question was...
do black
yeah,
people...
is it possible for anyone besides, I think he said, like, the
American
Negro, yeah, to play jazz music? So let's find out what she said.
if someone has studied all his life, yes and no.
Negro. Do you think that jazz can only be played by the American Negro?
I think this. Yes and no. And I'll give you a simile. If someone has studied all his life a poem, one poem, now follow me. If a little boy or a little girl has taken 5-6 hours every day to study a poem, and you haven't, now it makes sense, doesn't it, logically, that providing he has the imagination, all the things that I'm implying, that he could somehow put more meaning into that poem than someone who has not given that time. Does that make sense to you?
Sure.
All right, now let me finish. Now, to me,
Let me finish.
the Negro obviously feels quicker jazz music and blues than white people for obvious reasons. He's had simply more to spare in this particular idiom. Out of his despair came these blues. To me, it's total background. To me, it's total exposure, imitation, background. Of course, I have no qualms about that. I mean, I don't care what people think about Elvis Presley, but Elvis Presley has a part of him that is good and sincere and knows what he's talking about because he was down there, he lived it. It's the same case of, like, you've seen social workers who never get out in the street, or you must have heard of them, who don't even know what's happening out there. All they know is from books. But if they augmented their knowledge by getting out there and experiencing it, they would be a little bit more akin to the problem. This to me is basically the same. Now, I do not think, you see, now I get the implication here that just because you're colored, you automatically feel jazz or blues more. No, 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 no. I have seen colored people now who can't keep rhythm, honey. No, 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 no. I think it depends on your background, where you lived, how you lived, the amount of despair you had, the amount of exposure you had to hearing of people talk about despair and singing about it. And despair, blues, etc., etc., etc. And if they were white and they knew about this, of course. There's a fellow, I won't mention his name, but there's a fellow in Harry James' band who is so down, it's terrible. It's just wonderful guy because of where he comes from. And he's not colored.
Before you
Okay. All right. So, one, she sounds just like my grandmother. It's weird. I might cry about it later.
Valid. That's
Yeah,
totally valid.
I might cry about it later. And just listen to the interview again, or just play a record, probably. Yeah, I think that was the best way she could have answered that question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it summed up what we both were saying in
Yeah.
a way that unfortunately took race out of it. But I mean, like, for the time period, I mean, even now, like, that's a good answer, you know, like, no matter what your race is, like, if you've lived through that kind of turmoil and those kind of emotions, then yeah, you can play that music, you know, then you would be able to get it more so than someone who could. And I really love that she said, just because you're black does not mean that you automatically
Get a
just
pass.
because you're
No.
black does not mean you can dance.
No.
It does not.
Let's see. Imagine taking stereotypes in music this early. She was living on a whole nother time. Yes, she
Yeah.
was way ahead of her time.
Yeah, she was
Um,
classy
And
and
I-
wise and thoughtful and honest and probably a little drunk.
as we all, you know, she was carrying so much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think again, I heard her. If there was any left, it was sloshing around in that glass as she was moving it.
Ice cubes everywhere, condensation everywhere.
But and I like the acknowledgement that it's a history connection. And there's I like that. She gave a lot more leeway, flexibility to Elvis Presley than we do now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
now-
that made me cringe a little bit, but different
Yeah,
time, you know, I
but-
have to accept it for what it was at that particular time period.
Yeah. And there was a reason, yes, his capitalization of a black genre and his ability to use that to make an enormous amount of money.
Generational wealth.
Yes. Notwithstanding, he still had his own background, his own history that maybe made it more possible than if he had come from some rural, you know, wealthy Northeast kind of,
Yeah,
right?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, so it somewhat ironically made his exploitation more authentic.
Yeah, I mean, because he wasn't just doing black things. He was like Southern things, you know.
Yes, and there is a language called Southern. It
I do
is-
not
it
speak
is
it,
a-
but I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she did for it.
Yeah.
I think she respected his
Yeah, I think you're right there.
his hustle. And he was huge at this time too. Still is, depending on who you ask. But
I mean, you're not
but,
wrong.
but Elvis, whew,
Yeah,
Like-
a friend of mine went to Graceland and like came back with this story about him, and I was like, yeah, but he also married a 14-year-old, and I just can't agree with that.
there's you knowing too much again.
Yeah, I mean, and he was like in his early 30s, like, no. Not never. No. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I appreciate the music that he made. I get that it has its own time and space and people agree with it and listen to it and stand him. I am not one of those people.
Yeah.
My history does not allow for me to do that.
I am good.
But he's
with,
basically Eminem. I mean,
he again
where are the
talking about
lines?
history. Eminem has the history that made his
Yeah.
participation and exploitation of
I mean,
black music
he still
possible.
got trash for it. He still like caught a lot of shit
yeah.
for it, but we accepted it. You know, like you can
Yeah.
profit off of black music while being rooted in adjacent struggles. Yeah, poverty
yeah.
and the like. Yeah, absolutely.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
It's so funny because although there are very strong similarities, like speaking socially, the people most likely to, not most likely. Okay, let me start over because I'm gonna word this better. Poor white people do not see anything in common with poor black people, and that astounds me. Like,
it drove me crazy living in Florida because I was living in the sticks in Florida, like in a double wide. There was a swamp right next to me, like across the street, like, and not in like Florida streets are like the ones in like the my street was a county road. It didn't have an actual name. The middle of
CR.
nowhere. Yeah. CR. Yeah. That's the middle of nowhere that I was. And like the poor white people that were around me, like just as poor as I was, were like, yeah, no, you're still trash because you're black. You know, like I don't get it. You know, like you really think you're that much better than me? Like, bro, we're both going to a double wide.
At the founding of this nation, that is the lies they were sold to make them feel better about this position, because there was a rebellion and they were like, oh shit, white people and black people are going together, and there's this, that's a problem because if they rise up, we're gonna be fucked. So race, not just race, but the use of race to create social hierarchy.
Yeah.
Whew. Let's see.
The parallel between him and Elvis is a straight line. They're not on the same level of poverty. I mean, no, because like I when I say no, I agree with you. I think that my poverty and the poverty of like my white counterparts is different, because like they can put on like a clean outfit and you would never know that they were from poverty. Whereas me, I would have to, like, I still have to show my receipts, you know, like I'm a college grad, you know, like I'm respectable I'm a successful woman, you know, like in my field. And I still have to like prove myself and my worth and my intelligence over and over and over again, no matter what I'm wearing, no matter what I sound like.
Yeah.
Especially when they see my name and they make this one assumption about me, which happens quite frequently. And then, I mean, people go through the mental gymnastics of all kinds of things. So like my first job in technology, I was a computer technician for my community college that I was going to. And so like they saw my name, I got the interview, I get in there for the interview, I get the job, and then I start my first day and they're like, yeah, we kind of just thought you were Russian because your name sounded like it could be Russian. And I was like, nope, I'm a Negro. And like sat down.
Do now?
Yeah. I just sat down like
I'm
teach
here
me things.
now. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to them that I could have been black, you know, and it happened twice.
That's interesting. No, same disparity of pay, and Eminem had this skill and style, but he never tried to portray his life like a typical black urban life. He always told his story. That's very true.
Yeah.
It was very messed up. Very messed up. 97 cents for every dollar a white man with the same qualification makes, controlled gender pay gap for Hispanic and white women. Yeah.
I can count how many times I was mistaken for a white person while I was doing a phone support. Oh yeah. For a while I went by at work Michelle, which is my middle name, because I got tired of people going, "You what?" And then I would just saw Michelle, and people still got it wrong because like they weren't listening to begin with. But at least like it wasn't like a whole conversation about my name that I would have to go through like literally 100 times a day. Like when I was working at a call center, it's like just Michelle. It's just easier for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's messed up. You know, like the identity struggles that I've had with my name didn't really come to a place of understanding until like I was in my like late 20s, you know, like over 26, you know, and I was like, all right, my name's Unica. And it's awesome. It's a great name. You know, I like my name. It's just
It is.
dealing with the fact that people consistently mispronounce it, you know, because they don't put the effort into trying to say it properly.
Same. Same, girl, same. Not a call center, but bartender. You just, like, it's loud. There's people, you don't even need to know my name. I don't know why you're asking. My name was Lynn. I still use that moniker sometimes. Like, if I'm out and somebody I don't want to talk to, which, by the way, is most people, ask me what my name is, it's Lynn. When I order...
So you really are Moon is what you're saying, Kalia. Like, this is like the second or third time that I've been like, wow, that's something Moon would do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Plus you to disguise.
I order food under Lynn.
I go by my middle name right now. Wow. You said you order food by your middle name, Kalia?
Yeah. Like when I was still going to Starbucks, it's been a very long time now, but Lynn there, like, it's just the energy it takes, like you were saying, the energy it takes to have that conversation about the 5 letters that make up my first name. Like, it's just not worth it. Now, if I am in a professional setting, we're not gonna have an in-depth conversation. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying my name.
Oh my gosh.
Did you spill your sippy cup?
No, I didn't spill my sippy cup, but I had this thing, and it it was like a little squishy ball, and it just exploded all over my shorts. So.
Oh my goodness.
Not quite, but. Oh, it's like gack.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh.
Edison, go get help.
There is no help for this.
He's not helping at all.
You know, like, so I'm gonna talk to chat while you figure out what you're doing with your life.
What's happening? I need so much help right now. I need someone to hold me.
Yes, you told somebody your name was Davis.
No one said it would break.
Maybe you have a little too much stress.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So maybe a stress ball isn't the right purchase for you, and you need something filled with sand. They have things filled with sand. Bye.
I'm gonna stand up, and I hope that you can see like this. You feel funky. It did slime me. Okay, all right. I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, no problem. We will chat. Yes, it is, and I will make that effort. Fortunately, I've been working at the same place that I've been at for years, so everybody knows my name, and I don't have to have those conversations as much. Students never call me by my first name, so that's not an issue, but it is exhausting, which is why, despite my love of my name, yay parents, despite the fact that I love Kalia as a name, there's no reason why I feel the power in my name should be explained to you. And so I choose not to. I just do not. Meanwhile, Tig, you say, meanwhile, your name is so common that you've gone to school 2 different points in my life with 2 different states with someone with the same first name and last name. Yeah, I always wonder about people like that. Didn't even give yourself. Yeah, I can't. It is weird when I meet someone with my same name. Like, that is, it's. I've met several Kalias actually over the course of my life. A good friend of mine, She named her daughter Kalia after me. Um, when I was kid board, yeah, when I was a kid board, um, I wanted, don't ask me why, kids are kids, but I remember I wanted my name to be Sally or Sarah or something like that for a good chunk of time. I don't remember how much, um, but I don't know why, because that name now means absolutely nothing to me. Um, but I just wanted my name, like the first day of school, substitute teachers, like they never got it right, ever, ever. And now I guess I'm so used to it, like you say, bored. Um, like you grow out of wanting to be something other than who you are. And you learn to accept yourself and accept this name that you've been given. Look who's back. But yeah, so
What happened?
it took some growth. Did you de-slime? Did you Ghostbuster?
I mean, yeah, I de-slimed, but I mean, I also think that I just ruined my pair of shorts. So, just like it
Aw.
happened in the 90s with Gak, ruined my clothes. Oh, damn
Hey,
it, why am I
Nurse
still
Smith.
holding this? Okay, be back. I still have it.
So for those of you, um, Unica has broken a stress ball or something and has slimed herself, and so she's having to clean up. Um, her struggle has been so real, like it's hilarious, and I appreciate her being here with that. That is great. Welcome, Nerd Smith. Glad you can make it. Um, yeah. So, are you
Huh?
are are we okay now?
I hope so.
Did you get rid of all the offending goo? I'm sorry for your shorts.
I mean, they're just jean shorts and they're ugly. I just wore them because they were comfortable.
If it were water, Nerdsmith, this would not be
It wouldn't be
half
because my
as long.
sippy cup is leak proof, you know? Like,
You are so
technology.
gangster with that cup right now. You are living the sippy cup thug life.
It's
is
actually
what
empty,
you're doing.
so it's really not going to spill over.
No,
Just
it was
sad,
it
though.
was what was some sort of like stringy like gel.
No, it was like a goop, it was like a goop consistency. It was like being gacked. That's what it was like. Like it was
And it was a
like
stress
a stress
ball?
ball. Yeah, I mean, I got it from like the kids section, so I was like, you know, kids can play with it or whatever. And like, I was like, oh, stress ball, this is great because like your girl be stressed. And I was playing with it just now, and it just right all over me, and I did not like it.
And they have stress balls for grown-ups because our levels of stress are not the same as children's levels of stress.
Well, I mean, this stress ball didn't. I mean, the ones that for adults don't have cool colors. Okay, don't judge me.
Oh, okay. I see. There's an open market. Design it, sell it. You'll be okay. They have
you're
adult
not wrong.
coloring books. Why not adult brightly colored stress balls?
I mean, you're not wrong. Also, hi Nerdsmith. How are you all doing? Hopefully better than me. Adult coloring books are pretty badass. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the
I was
patience.
whacking on the table and it exploded everywhere. Yeah. My story with Gag, I was young and I thought that it would maintain its structural integrity through jump ropes. So, yeah. I was experimenting, okay? Scientist from a young age. And so I stretched it out and started jumping rope with it. And I got like 3 or 4 jumps in it, and then it like caught like the back of my clothes and like just stuck there. And I didn't know how to get it out. And so I just, you know,
Because your experimentation as a child did not go into
I did not
reparative.
have the foresight. No, did not
Reparative.
have. No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so that's the last time I ever played with Gak because I got in big trouble. And now we know why.
Oh my lord!
This
And
is
now
why
you
I
lost
can't have
another
nice
pair
things.
of shorts.
I know. I don't have many clothes. I told you I'm a recondoed my whole life, and I just have like black pants and black shirts.
Thrift
Then my-
store. I'm sure there will be some at a thrift store.
Nah, I'm good. Anywho.
Yes, Nina, Miss
Yeah.
Simone.
Yeah, we're almost through this.
We do love you. Pardon pardon our digressions, plural.
It's a conversation.
Totally.
Google how to remove that stuff. Oh, so like when I was wiping it up, it didn't, like, the chunks of the liquid or whatever it was like came off, but now it's just stained my shorts and like
The non-water liquidy,
yeah,
whatever
in like
it is.
a reddish kind of color, and so in the crotch area, if that helps.
Okay.
I don't need that smoke in my life.
We want to demystify the menstruation cycle, so that might be a way to do it.
But not with me.
Not with you.
No.
You're not going to volunteer to be on that front line.
No, I mean, cups, and that's about where it stops,
Like advocate cup.
It's helped me. I will stand cups till the day I die. They've definitely changed my whole world as far as like that goes.
And I keep wanting. We should have a whole show about that.
I might be able to help. I'll take a picture of the shorts now, and you let me know if you can get the stain out. If not, it's cool. Totally fine.
Send it to me and I'll send it to her.
Okay, cool beans. All right, let's get back to this.
Yes,
A
Nina.
little bit left of it. We got like another 7 minutes left.
In mentioning Marian Anderson, you mentioned that she had a great amount of dignity. Jimmy Brown was talking on the subject of dignity in the Negro. He said that it was important that young Negroes should understand they didn't have to sing and dance and clown for the white man. Now, this is a point that many other people have made, and especially Miles Davis is very vehement on it. In an indirect way, doesn't this take a backhand swipe at you, Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis?
No, because if I were getting out there doing something that was not part of me, it would hurt me. But I happen to be a musician. I happen to be. Now, the very fact that someone stereotypes me because of it has nothing to do with the fact that I am a musician. And I don't care if I were white, green, or blue. As long as I have the background, the talent that I have, I'm a musician. So it doesn't affect me. I agree with him that you don't have to do these things, but if you happen to be good at doing these things, why not? As long as you are being true to yourself and not dividing it. For instance, when you get out there and perform, like I'm talking to you, as long as I'm telling you what I really feel, I have no guilt. What is going to be guilty about? As long as I'm saying what's coming out of my heart, then there's nothing wrong with me having an interview. But if I'm going to have an interview just because you want it, and answer questions that I think you want to hear a certain way, then I'm being untrue to myself, and therefore I would be guilty of what he's talking about. But I'm not. I happen to be a musician, and I try to play and sing as much as I can of what I feel. And that's what doesn't touch me. I admire the article. In fact, as I cut it out, I collect these articles.
The very accelerated move for integration over the last 2 years, do you feel that they are trying to go too fast or not fast enough?
Oh, now, come on. Now, that's not even a good question. Has nothing to do with fast or slow. Has to do with what should have been all my life and my mama and grandmama before. Has nothing to do with being fast or slow. If someone else is given some human rights, I want mine simply because I'm a human. It's just that.
Truer words literally have never been spoken. I want my human rights because someone else has them. That's it. That's the only reason why I want them, because I should have them.
That's literally how human rights are defined. They apply to every human. Tell us it's not the right time. We're agitating. No, y'all aren't giving us what you're supposed to get. Like, what? Whew.
Yeah. Also, you can hear like her frustration at that question.
Oh, very, very much. She's like, why we were doing so good. Why
I was rooting for you.
Oh my goodness. The same.
Yeah.
Yes, we are exactly there now. Like still. Human rights.
Yeah. Human rights.
And
That's
I
it.
keep seeing people who disagree, right, in some form or fashion, however you want to label that disagreement, they're trying to become. I saw this. It was on the Daily Show. This woman he was interviewing, of course. Anyway, this woman he was interviewing, it's like they're trying to be. She was talking about LGBT rights. I think at that moment they're trying to be more than. They're trying to be. I'm like, he was like, so marriage. It was pre-marriage equality. Marriage is more than. She was like, yeah, straight people have worked so hard. I'm like, at what?
Yeah, that's been the norm for hundreds of years.
Yes, Tig.
Yeah. Fool, please. Miss me with that BS.
Yeah, so it's that same conversation. And you mentioned it, I think last time we did parallels, where when you've been privileged your whole life, having someone else have the same privilege feels like oppression.
It feels oppressive.
I've seen
Yeah, when you're
reiterations
used to getting
of that.
100%, 80% feels oppressive.
Yeah. And it's not even 80%. We just want the same 100%. Like,
But
what?
how do you know where you're at in this society if you can't say that person's underneath me? Like the mentality that's been shoved down our throats for hundreds of years is that,
Othering. I talk about this all the time. Othering. We define ourselves, and Baldwin talks about this too.
Oh, yeah.
James Baldwin. But the idea that we defined ourselves in positionality to someone else, right? That perspective thing. I know who I am.
Oh, shit.
What? Thank you, Nerd Smith.
What? Oh, my gosh.
What?
I do not deserve, or what did I do to deserve?
Oh, we
Don't stop.
got
This is
distracted, and
amazing.
now we're.
Yeah, no. I mean, you just there's bells and stuff going on in my headphones. I gotta hear it. But thank you very much, Nerdsmith. You guys are always coming through with love.
Thank you. Yes, we definitely appreciate you.
All right, see
And
you
I
later,
totally
Nerdsmith.
forgot. Oh yeah, thank you for stopping by.
Me forever, not just now.
Okay.
Keep talking, Kalia.
I forgot what I was saying, Nerdsmith. Oh my
The
lord.
bells and whistles distracted us.
What was I? Now you have to give me, like my students. You now have given the job of reminding me what I was talking about. Oh, othering.
Yeah,
Othering.
I said that. I'm a part of this.
Yes, you are. But the idea that we define our space in society, all the things that makes up society, culturally, power structures, all of that, by knowing where someone else exists. So we put a lot of effort into making sure we understand how we think other people are, to make sure we feel good about the space we occupy.
Yeah, Tig just made a very good point.
Yeah, of course, because it's freaking Tig.
I mean, Dodoy.
Oh.
But if I'm used to being on
comment.
top, but now everyone else is standing beside me, I don't feel special anymore.
Yes.
I mean, I detect no lies,
Yes. And it's that they say it in movies every now and again. If everyone is special, then no one is.
That's The Incredibles, okay? Don't even try to gloss over that like that was a
No,
great
that was
animated
totally
film.
Incredibles, but they've said that in other stuff
Where?
too, haven't they?
Where?
I don't know. Anyway, so we put so much effort into thinking and creating spaces that other people occupy. And this, I talked about it, I don't know when it was, but Invisible Man is about that. Like the idea that other people see you as they wish to see you, and therefore have defined you in this space. And when you tell them, no, I'm not that thing, they're like, oh my gosh, you're so rude.
Yeah. How dare you correct my thoughts?
What do you mean you're not the thing I created you to be?
How dare you not fit into my box of standards?
Yeah. Rayla, I keep thinking about how she said, find your lane versus someone will tell you to stay in your lane. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. She was definitely a proponent of that. But I think one of the things that white people, and again, Baldwin, he is my guru. Baldwin spoke about that the job for white people to do and all of us with privileges to do, is to understand that what you say about someone, and this is directly something I directly learned from Baldwin. I don't know why it didn't occur to me before him, but whatever, I'll take it. Whatever you say about someone else rarely has anything to do with them, if ever, right? So everything you put out there as a descriptor, as a either praise or demeaning, right? It goes both ways, is reflected of you, where you are, how you see your space. And when I learned, like, because I spent so much time, right, thinking and worrying about stuff, they're not talking about me. They're talking about themselves. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no. It's definitely something that it didn't sink in for me until therapy. And about how, like, my concern with what other people think about me, and how I define myself in that space is, you know, it's because of what they've said about me, and, you know, like, I'm living in their world when that's damaging to my own ego, you know?
Yeah. And I'd been through therapy. This wasn't something I was in therapy adjacent to, but Baldwin has been my therapy, like, for so many years since I discovered his genius.
Yeah.
Has been very therapeutic for me. So, you know, yes, everybody should be in therapy.
Yeah.
Go now.
You're alive. And,
Yes.
know, that's
breathing. You've got issues. Go talk
you're a
to
human.
somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, last couple minutes. I know we're over
Yes.
time, but oh well.
Sort of. Not quite yet.
My grandmother has said this for years. It's 9:00.
Oh, I was looking at the actual 2-hour block, not
Oh.
because we're not quite at 2
I don't
hours.
think the question
Anyway, go ahead.
my finger slipped on the space bar. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go.
is fast or slow at all. When you put it in that vein, slow. If someone else is given some human rights, I want mine simply because I'm a human. It's just that simple. I don't think the question is fast or slow at all. When you put it in that vein, it implies that there should be a fast or slow. Do we ask whether it's right to try to control the hydrogen bomb? It's an obvious thing. We got a thing here, we got to learn how to control it. Well, all right, I'm a human being. You're a human being. If you're given a privilege to wash your hands, then I am too. From the strength that I'm a human being. That's all. And I don't think it's a question of fast or slow. We've been too slow in knowing that we were going to have to fight to get our rights.
Do you feel that the riots of the last 6 months or so have helped or hindered in this cause for integration?
I'll tell you what I feel. I believe anything we do as Negroes, anything we do to help promote and accelerate what we should have had when we were...
I know. Like, I know. But again, the reporters with the inane questions. Do you think the riots have helped? They ask the same thing now. Has it helped her? Where were we before that was so great that we're slowing down?
Yeah.
Like, what does it help or hurt? Just give us human rights. You are asking the wrong questions.
Yeah.
Why? Why in God's name are we having conversations about whether it's the right time, right way, right thing? Just the fundamentals.
It hasn't been right, and we're trying to make it right.
Like, how can you have a right way to get something that you didn't like, what?
Because they want to give civil rights in a manner that doesn't offend their sense of superiority, you know, and that's not going to happen because we're talking about equality here. You know, we're not talking about one particular group, you know, or ethnicity like being superior to anyone else. Which makes me so upset about the recent tweets from what's his face, Terry Crews.
Oh, I was hoping we would get through without, man. He is.
We were rooting for you, Terry Crews. We were rooting for you.
We were.
2 tweets about this nonsense. Who in the literal fuck is saying anything about Black superiority? And if they are, That is not the main narrative at all.
No.
Overwhelmingly so.
No.
So who are you talking to, about this, where you think that that's where the conversation is going to be going? And then you think you have the voice of the rest of the world. Like, that's an at home to your wife conversation, not to the internet.
The internet did drag him for several layers of filth. It's great. Yeah, it astounds me when we're asked the right way. And there is a person who I am no longer friends with. Mm-hmm. And I've been divesting myself from white people for a while. Mm-hmm. It's a process. Mm-hmm. And one of the last ones I had, several issues, but now I forgot. What were we God damn it. I had so many things flood into my brain at once. It kicked out. I went to some event that she was putting on, and she was talking about people in France, right? She went to France vacation, and she had a wonderful time, and she saw a group of protesters there. And she said, and see, they were protesting the right way. Right. And so
how does one protest the right way? What were they doing?
I'm like, one, you have no idea what they were protesting, right? They could have, you have absolutely no idea.
Were they having out avocado toast sandwiches? Is that the right way to protest?
And I didn't ask her because I was pretty much done at this point. She had already
crossed the line,
shot off several toes before we got to this point. It's just like, how can I make this analogous? Mm-hmm. But yeah, and so the right way does it hurt? Is it the right way? Just, you know what would guarantee that we wouldn't be in the streets protesting, rioting,
human rights,
any of that? What? Oh, look at that.
What a concept.
If people who committed crimes against our bodies, against Black bodies, were brought to justice the way Black people who commit crimes against anyone are brought to justice, many times erroneously, in and of itself, yes. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It's a whole
thing.
It's a whole nother episode.
Always.
Yeah.
Sorry. When he asked that question, okay. For real this time. The last
last few minutes, y'all. Thanks for sticking with us so much. Once again, we're Dicey Amazons. We're in the last, I think less than 3 minutes of this interview, which might be a little shorter to have BS on the end of it. So, all right, here we go.
Born is good. Now, you have to understand what I mean. I'm talking on the broadest scope possible. To me, there's no such thing as hindering rights. And I will elaborate. Jomo Kenyatta is the Prime Minister of Kenya. And I'll just finish by elaborately saying the same man led the Mau Mau, organized it many years ago. The same man. They spread bloodshed everywhere. But no one denies that they didn't win, and it was a terrible thing that was done. A lot of innocent people were killed. But it got the point, it accelerated the nation's independence. And in that sense, when you look back on it now, you say, and here he is the Prime Minister. I mean, I got no more to say than that. To me, when you have been denied your rights, then you have a right to do anything to get them, if they're not going to be given to you. If they're going to be given to you, yes, be patient, ask for them, be courteous, be mannerly, be dignified. But if you have been proven over and over again that you're not going to get them, that's it. I don't know. I know this. I know that my people are slowly getting their rights. I know that it's easier for us to live without having to look around our shoulders all the time and having to be ashamed all the time. That's all I know, and I know that it's going to get better. civil rights bill or not, it's going to get better. I haven't even thought extensively about the bill per se. I'm glad it's passed, but there was a similar bill passed in '54. But all I know is it's inevitable that
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So this is just, yeah. We're,
What bill passed in 1954? Do you know?
yeah. So that was this striking down. I'm gonna make sure before I say stuff because, as you know, I am not good with specific bits of information. But yeah, the
Keep
50,
that same energy, not the justice system. Good one, board.
the I believe the 54 might have been the initial desegregation.
Okay.
I think, and then there was an earlier Civil Rights Act passed in. Hold on. I want to make sure because
yeah.
people are like, "Oh, you teach history, you know all this stuff." Do you know how much history there is?
I mean, only
So
white history is what I've known for 30 plus years. So
I can't remember all of it. So Brown versus Board of Education was passed in '54. So that may be what she was
okay.
talking about.
Okay, that makes sense. I just wasn't sure if there was something else that we,
But there was a previous Civil Rights Act to the 64th Civil Rights Act that she's talking about. There was a Civil Rights Act of 1957.
Communist Control Act of 1954. I know nothing
Well,
about
no,
that.
because
Board
she said that it was a Civil Rights Act. She said that. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think that that's what she was referring to. But the Civil Rights Act of 1957, just real quick, people, I promise, was the I think upholding the voting right. No. A civil rights bill designed to provide federal protection for voting rights, but then clearly that worked great because we had to go back and do that again. It established the United States Commission on Civil Rights.
The 1954 prohibited
57.
tactics to limit voting, is what your mother said.
But again, I think that was 57. I don't think that was 54, unless there's. I don't know. Okay. All of us should go to the Googles and learn more about these Civil Rights Acts.
Facts. Absolute facts. We're going to be having a pop quiz in 2 weeks, so get ready.
What was the question that she was talking about?
In 1957, the Civil Rights Act was created to independent U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. Although the commission was limited to fact-finding, its reports helped shape the Breakthrough of Civil Rights Act of 1964, which also provided the commission with greater authority. Thank you, Tig.
Yes. And why are we talking about this? Like, what happened? I can't remember things that happened 5 seconds ago.
Nina was mentioning the act in 1954 as a predecessor to the one in 1964, and saying that like they tried once and then they had to do it again, and now we're doing it again. Because again, gaslighting, lip service. Like, I really enjoy watching all of these companies and state governments try to roll back other policies, but the ones that we're asking for. It's like, we'll change the name of this team, but we're gonna let these police murder you in the streets. That's not changing at all. I thought it was that because people's rights were violated under the guise of rooting out the Red Scare.
Okay, so
talk about it.
There, yeah. So we're speaking of McCarthyism, and like all of that happened around that same time. But To my knowledge, again, I am not a civil rights scholar. Let's just say that out there. I am not a civil rights scholar. Um, but to my knowledge, the Red Scare tactics, McCarthyism, and that whole, which is a fascinating piece of history in and of itself, um, did catch many artists, musicians, Black people in the in its wake. Like it caught so many people that even if they were attached to communism, weren't at all a problem. But again, that's the othering piece, right? You cannot have and promote democracy without having a demonized side to it, right? Mm-hmm. So communism is just what that was. But there was a lot of acts going on at this time. Like the Supreme Court at this time was super busy. So
good times for the Supreme Court.
Yes.
I don't know.
And of Eisenhower and what's that dude? Roosevelt, FDR policies. Like there was a lot of stuff going on at this particular point in time.
Yeah.
Yay, redlining.
Yay. Okay.
So yeah, when Nina's talking about all this, there is a larger context of waiting that had been happening for a long time.
Communism is rooted in uplifting the poor and changing policies as well. Rooted.
It's okay. We understand you're excited. I tend to lean more socialist, but you know, we all can agree that capitalism is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, welcome to 2020. Where capitalism is failing.
Fine. What's that meme with the dog? Everything's on fire.
Oh yeah, it's
fine.
fine.
Like, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
We're
good.
That is us. Yeah. All right, let's finish this.
All right, last less than a minute or less than 2 minutes. There we go.
We're going to get our equal rights. Does that answer you?
I've heard a record that Nina Horn made called Now, sung to the tune of Hava Nagila.
Oh, mine's more explosive than hers. Mine's called Mississippi Beep Beep. Beep Beep is it's a bad word, so I can't say it. You haven't heard about it? Oh, makes Now look sick. The only place that we have to sing our love songs, I mean, you know, let's face it now. Nobody protests when we sing love songs, do they? No one cares when we get them excited. They love us to death. Now, don't we have a right to also tell them how we feel in terms of hate? You answer me.
I think so.
Oh, so why hasn't she got a right to get up there and say the things that mean something to her? They love her as long as she's satisfying them. Why shouldn't she satisfy her? And if this is the thing that's on her mind the most, she does have a right, because that's the only place where she's going to get a mass audience to hear it.
What do you consider has been the greatest single step in the fight for equality?
When those lovely young kids in the South decided we're not going to take no more of this, we're going to go out and demonstrate. They didn't talk it. They didn't listen to their mama's and daddy's approval. They didn't care. They got off of it and went out in the street and said, okay, you give it to me or you arrest me. That, to me, was the biggest major step. The young people who had the courage to get out there and practice what they preached.
It was in 1961.
That's the end of it. That's where it ends.
Okay. I loved her. I mean, I already loved her.
Mm-hmm.
But you answer me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a rhetorical question.
Mm-mm.
Do I not have the right to express love and pain?
Yeah.
Oh.
Am I not worth more? You know? Am I not justified enough? Am I not given the humanity of feeling more than being multifaceted, feeling more than one emotion?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Mama Nina.
Yeah.
Go ahead, girl.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm here for it.
Here for it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Absolutely. Can't stop it.
Oh, man. That was a good. We could have paused that like 5 different times in
I
the
know.
last 2
Yeah,
minutes.
I know. I had to stop myself from pausing it because I 100% was like gonna pause it again, and we're already like not that like anyone's coming up behind us, but still, like I'm hungry. I mean, you don't have nothing to do tomorrow.
I do
I'm
not.
going. I'm going on a hike
Let's
tomorrow,
just.
and that's it.
Oh, I'm gonna early vote tomorrow
I early voted on Monday.
because that's early. I was too comfortable today. I was like, I'll give my meh vote tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was like, I'm not waiting in any lines.
Yeah.
I was literally in and out. They gave me a glove and they gave me a pencil where I could use like the eraser bit to like make my. Oh
Oh,
yeah. And then a
okay.
bunch of hand sandy, and I was like, skirt, skirt, thank you. I'll see y'all in November.
I'm gonna early vote in November too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
Texas won't allow mail-in because
I applied for one, and they were like,
Abbott.
"No, bruh."
Yeah, since Abbott won't allow mail-in ballots,
Mm-hmm.
or rather, I should say Trump,
Yeah.
and it's not just local; it's national too. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be like first day early voting in November because it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I've lucked out living really close to polling places over the last couple of years, and so like early voting for me has been like, oh, I'm on my way home. Let me just stop off and vote real quick.
Yeah.
And in and out. Like the only time that I've had to wait for voting is when I didn't go to early voting, and so
Yeah, I messed up the last time. I was like, damn it.
can I get a mail in by vote that says I will get lost?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Didn't that happen in like Florida or no Georgia? That contested relationship between Stacey Abrams and whatever, they found boxes of votes that hadn't been counted. Like
Just
you
off
got
to the
one
side.
job.
Yeah.
Like literally, like you got one task.
To count all the votes.
All of them.
You did not do.
Keep
And here's the
track.
thing, like once you realize that like there has been an error in it, like shouldn't that automatically trigger like a revote? Which it didn't. Which
No.
I was like, so y'all know there's all these votes over here, y'all just not gonna count them like nothing happened? It's what? What? How is this allowed to happen? And why haven't I not cared until now?
Yeah.
Like I remember being a kid and I was saying that in my stream during the 5 minutes that I was pouring my heart out and had my mic muted on accident.
Struggle life.
It's a struggle bus the whole way through. That it's like, how when you were a kid and like maybe your mom or like the elders around you would say things like, and that would make you think the whole world is crumbling and like the whole world's about to end. And so when I was younger, I was like, oh well, like those people are just like they've had their fun, and so now they're just trying to like limit and harsh my fun and whatnot. And now that I'm older, I'm like, y'all see this, right? Like, I'm not the only person that's seen like the world is actually on fire, literally, because global warming.
And on like consistently on fire.
Consistently.
Like,
Yeah.
because we can't learn a lesson. We're having the same conversations they were having in 1966.
The exact same words are being said in the exact same sequential order. Like, it's baffling.
The exact same conversation. Like, anyway.
Yeah. But Kalia, you want to give the people what's coming up next for
Yes.
Darcy Anderson's?
Tell me it's Thursday. I know where I'm at and what I'm doing. So tomorrow is Candy. She will be streaming Star Wars.
KOTOR. Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic.
Totally dark side, although she will never admit it. Why? Gods
Dark
can do what they
side.
want. So tomorrow at 7 Central, 7 p.m. Don't be up at 7 a.m.
She comes on at 8.
At 8, okay. All right. 8
Candy special.
p.m. Still not a.m. But 8 p.m. tomorrow. KOTOR, did you say?
Yeah,
I don't know
KOTOR.
these
Knights of
things.
the Old Republic. Yeah.
Thank you. And then Sunday, we're not doing D&D. We are doing Dicey Debates, which is the inane and wonderful process of debating things that make no sense when pitted against each other. So we would debate a fan and a plant. And you would have to decide and vote, illustrious audience,
Who created the better argument?
which one is better. because apparently yellow makes it better.
It
That's the
does.
thing.
It does. Yeah.
Um,
Also, Mississippi Goddamn is a fucking great song. Let's
It
just
is
say that as well.
super. Yeah, Mississippi Goddamn is good. And the
Sorry,
song that
Clea.
she- yeah.
I don't want to play it because I don't want to get us muted because of copywriting and whatnot. But I will 100% post it in Discord chat.
Yeah, it's not a public domain song. And the song that was mentioned, that she mentioned earlier, I pulled it up. Where did it go? See, this is what happens when you have too many tabs and aren't keeping
You
track of
gotta
your
move
life.
past your naughty sides, Kalia, and get to the good ones. Well, I mean the educational ones, not the good ones. You know, put those for later.
Wait, what are we talking about again? Black Pirate Jenny.
Yeah.
Pirate Jenny is also like a really good one. I wanted to put that one also in Discord. I'll do that in parallels as well. Okay, so Sunday, Jenny, Sunday, Dicey Debates, where you get to pick who among us has the best argument. It doesn't matter, but you're going to vote, and Unica's going to brag, because whether she wins or loses, it's all it's all
I've won,
braggadocious.
you know.
And then we start the cycle all over again. Monday and Wednesday is Miss Pie right there, because everybody loves pie.
Everyone loves pie.
Streams games on Wednesday. Oh wait, aren't you doing something special on Friday with the raid for Division 2?
Oh yeah. I will be. Tomorrow is Friday. Yes, I will be streaming from my PS4, so no cam, which would be great because I won't be just showing my greasy ass face anymore for the day at least. And yeah, me and my friends are going to be attempting to complete the second raid on Division 2. And I had a bit of a somewhere around 1. Like I'll probably log in at like 12 and like start shooting the shit, and then we'll probably get things together at like 1:30 Central Standard Time. But yeah.
Okay. And then she also streams regularly Monday and Wednesdays. So it's been Witcher, which I missed this last week.
Yeah, you did. I was actually doing very well. I was.
It's only been a few weeks, so of course, like, good job.
Thank you. I was proud of myself.
You didn't die as many times.
I only died 3 times.
That is progress.
That's so much progress.
Death only comes 3 times. So she plays Witcher, and then Wednesday, are you going back to Warframe, or are you going to do Division 2 some more?
I might do Division because like the raid is where it's at right now. It really depends, or I might the Witcher is nice because it's a nice change of pace from just running and gunning, which is what the other 2 games that I was playing were. So I might, I'm gonna keep the Witcher in there. It's a really good game, and I also want to like gear up to like playing Cyberpunk 2077 because I'm so excited for that game.
You're saying a lot of things gamer-like that I don't know, but I believe in you and I am there for it.
Cyberpunk
Support
was
Black
originally a
women.
tabletop RPG, and now they made it into a game made by the same people who made The Witcher. So the same game
Nice.
company made this game as well, and so it's the same kind of in-depth story, but like set in a cyberpunk world where like you can customize everything.
Wow. And see, I'm not a gamer, but if y'all want to talk about comic books, y'all can talk to me on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Segue.
Those comics that you recommended or that you displayed yesterday, Tuesday, were
Tuesday,
amazing. Yeah, I checked out one of them. You posted a link and I clicked on it, and yeah, amazing. Highly recommend your recommendations.
Well, good. There we go. So I have some nerd credentials, if not gaming. It's a thing. But on Tuesdays, I stream a blurred of this and that. I am a blurred of this and that. So literally all the things that I want to talk about, they gave me a platform to talk about.
And the news.
Yes,
judgy.
and the news is actually part of it because I get very ranty and I have no outlet. And so now I think we're going to have the Kalia rants, the Kalia news, as you said last week, in the first part, and then I go into recommendations on comic books, which are almost always Black central characters or queer characters or some other non-Superman type character. And then we cover maybe a sci-fi novel or fantasy, something like that, and then poetry, because I also am a nerd for poetry. We talk about poetry every week. It's a jam session. We talk. It's group therapy. thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then next week Thursday we won't have this because we'll have my little one back. But the following Thursday we will have another Parallels. Don't ask me what day of the week that is, but it's a thing. Or
I
what
do not
date.
know. It's not this